What is up, YouTube? It's Lions Fan Express coming at you with that man-to-man press. And in today's video, I'm going to give you guys my top 10 prospects for pick number 18 for the Detroit Lions. I watched some film on these guys. These are good players, good prospects. I think a lot of fans would like these players too. So, I thought I'd just give you guys my, my opinions on these guys and kind of direct some attention to who the Lions could be picking at number 18. So with that being said, let's take a look at my big board and see who I got on there. So at number 10, I have defensive tackle Brazier from Clemson. Brian Brazier, he's actually a pretty solid player. He's a really good athlete for his size. He's 6'5", over 300 pounds. He's battled some things, when it comes to injuries and off the field stuff, like personal things. But he's battled through that, and he's a resilient player. I do think he's got some talent. He can stop the run. He's got some pass rush upside as well, and he's kind of versatile. He's not my first choice for the Detroit Lions, but I definitely think that he fits in that mold. And as a mid-round, first-round pick, and I think that he could definitely come in, help that defensive line out in Detroit. So that's why he's on my top 10. At number 9, I have edge rusher Lucas Van Ness. Now he's kind of a hard prospect to kind of project because he didn't start at Iowa, but he did get a lot of playing time, and he was actually pretty productive when he was on the field. He's got some upside as a player. He's a good run stopper. He had 7.5 sacks this season, so he's got some pass rush ability as well. And he had a pretty good combine too. He was more athletic than I thought he was going to be. So kind of a high floor kind of player, but I don't think he really has one specialized trait that really makes him elite. So that's why he's at number 9 on this board. At number 8, I have offensive tackle Darnell Wright from Tennessee. Now, going into this, I actually had Darnell Wright as a second-round prospect, but the more tape I watched on him, the more stuff I was learning and gaining from with the combine and film and just other opinions. And Darnell Wright is a good player. You watch him and he's a dog, and I think that he could definitely be a good option for the Detroit Lions. Now I know he's playing offensive tackle here, and we're pretty set at offensive tackle, but I think that he could probably kick inside, play guard if you needed to, and then if worse comes to worse, you can push him back out to offensive tackle. So that would be kind of the game plan going into it. But Darnell Wright, definitely would not mind having him on the team. He's a good player, and I definitely think he's deserving of a first-round pick. Number 7, I have offensive tackle Peterskoronski. Like Darnell Wright, he is he's an offensive tackle, but really he projects more as an interior offensive lineman because he's got shorter arms. But yeah, I watched this film and he's actually really good. He's good. He's a good pass blocker. He's a good run blocker as well. He's aggressive, a little bit of a mauler, and he definitely kind of has that Big Ten mentality. When anytime he gets up and lines up on the line of scrimmage, he's gonna dominate his opponent and he's gonna dominate him every single play. So he's got some things to kind of clean up though. He's a little bit raw in some areas, and again, he's not really, I don't know if he'd be a great offensive tackle per se, but I definitely think that he could be a really good offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions. At number 6, I have another offensive lineman. This is an interior offensive lineman, Torrance. And for me, I like this guy. Right when I started watching his film, he's just he's a beast. He's big, he's solid, he moves people. He's able to get to the second level on his run blocks. He's a pretty good pass blocker, and I got to see him go head-to-head with Jalen Carter. He held his own for the most part, but he did have a couple reps where he got beat, so he does need to kind of clean up his pass rush a little bit, but would be excited to have him on the team. You add him to your offensive line, automatically makes it the best offensive line on paper, hands down. At number 5, I have safety/cornerback Brian Branch. Now, Brian Branch is somebody that is kind of a jack of all trades player. He can play nickel, he can play safety, he can play cornerback. He's very versatile. He's not the greatest athlete, but he's a good, he's a good coverage safety. He's able to, kind of cover that hook to curl. Not really deep, defending safety, but he can really play that kind of hook to curl area. And he's, good with his pass deflections. He's a good run defender as well. He can come up and make tackles. So Really like Brian Branch. I think he's versatile enough to play at any position in the secondary. And yeah, he's definitely a good player to watch out for. I think he's, a really good secondary player that the Lions could definitely look to draft in the draft. So at number 4, I have linebacker Trent Simpson. Now, this might be a little bit of a stretch for some people. I know a lot of people don't consider any of the linebackers in this draft worthy of a first-round pick, and I understand that. However, I think Trent Simpson definitely has some things that can make him an intriguing prospect. He's tall, he's long, he's fast, athletic, he can blitz, he can cover. He's got it all. He really does. The only downside to him is that he does miss, some tackles. But, when it comes to it, he can cover. He's one of the best cover linebackers in this draft. He really reminds me of Isaiah Simmons, just not quite as athletic, but definitely just as versatile. He can line up in the box, kind of almost like a nickel, drop back into coverage. He can blitz. So really, you can use him in a lot of different ways. And I think he'd be a really good weapon to have on the defensive side of the ball that Aaron Glenn could use to bolster up that defense. At number 3, again, this is going to be a little bit of a controversial, prospect, but I do have quarterback Hendon Hooker. When I first started watching his film, I really liked him. I think the thing that really kind of put me more thinking of him as a day 2 prospect was because of his ACL tear and then his age. When you go back and watch his film, like, he's just so efficient though. He's got the prototypical size. He's 6'4". He's an athlete. He's mobile. He's super accurate. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football this year, and he rarely throws interceptions. He's very careful with the ball. So a lot of people think like, oh, well, he's already 25. Like he's not going to have time to develop. Honestly, I think he's more pro ready than most of the other NFL, quarterback prospects. I think he could come in and play right away. Despite the injury, I think if he heals up, he can play right away and be someone that you need. But you can also give him that little extra time and kind of put him behind a quarterback like Jared Goff to sit and learn for a season and to really be a good, viable option that can, come in and help the offense in a pinch if someone goes down. So really like Hendon Hooker. Honestly, to me, he's kind of risen up my draft board a little bit. He's actually my quarterback 3 right now. I have him above Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. So definitely think that he's deserving of a first-round pick. At number 2, I have defensive tackle Kalijah Kancey from Pitt. Now, Kalijah Kancey is just a beast. I'm just going to admit it. He's smaller for a defensive tackle, only being about like 6'1", barely 280 pounds. But, man, he can tear it up on that defensive line. He's a good run defender. He's able to slip between blocks and get into the backfield and penetrate. When it comes to pass rush, he really is smooth. He's got a lot of tools to use, and he had like 7.5 sacks this season, so he's definitely efficient with it as well. So yeah, he had an amazing combine, and I think that's going to even help bolster up his stock. Honestly, there's a chance I think that he doesn't even fall to 18. I think he might even get picked up earlier than this, but in case he is there, he would definitely be a player that I would definitely be jumping up and down for to have on this team if the Lions decide to pick him up. And at number 1, I have running back Bijan Robinson. Yes. Now, I know that running back is, it's kind of a taboo. You usually don't take running backs in the first round, let alone, in the top 20 nowadays because the positional value just isn't there. But Bijan Robinson, he is special. Honestly, he's a really good running back. And just a special talent that is able to just, he's elusive, he's swift, he's quick, he runs with power, and just, he can catch out of the backfield, he can make cuts, he can run it inside, outside, pretty decent pass blocker as well, but he kind of needs to improve that a little bit more at the next level. But, he's built like a bell cow running back. Just having him on the team, like imagine having him and David Montgomery, the two-headed monster, with Swift coming in to, do kind of third down options. That would be a really good tandem in the backfield for Detroit. So that's kind of how I'm feeling about it right now when it comes to pick number 18. Of course, they can do some other things as well. They can definitely, if they need to, they can trade down and gain more capital, or if they feel like there's a player that they want, one of these guys, and they just don't feel like they're going to fall to number 18, they can definitely package up some deals to move up to get these guys. But for the most part, I expect almost every single one of these players, or at least the majority of these players, to be here at pick number 18, just based off the fact of where people are projecting them and also, you know, what their draft value to me is. So with that being said, you know, I hope you guys liked the video. You know, this was a 2-part series. I did, you know, picks number 6 in my other video. If you guys want to go back and watch that, feel free to look at that. But this is pick number 18 for the Detroit Lions because they have 2 first-round picks. And yeah, exciting to see what Brad Holmes is going to do. You know, just because, you know, if you pick someone that isn't on this list, that's perfectly fine. You know, at the end of the day, you just got to trust him to make the right decision. But these are guys that I would personally consider drafting at number 18. And there's a couple others too that, you know, I wouldn't mind as well. But I hope you guys like the video. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. If you like, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and you know, we'll keep putting out content for you guys. But with that being said, go Lions.